So last time we were on, I want to apologize to you guys. Last time we were on, the whole system crashed towards the end. I lost the recording. That can't happen this time. I'm not going to say can't. It could, but it's most likely going to not because I'm also doing a screen flow, which means everything on my screen is being recorded. Plus the webinar system is recording this. So we should be able to have this recording. But really, I would like to not do recordings, which would force people to actually get on here with me live, which I think is more inspiring than just, because sometimes you do a recording, you send it out, people are like, it's a recording, I can watch it anytime. Anyways, get over it, Tyler. Okay, cool. Talking to myself in the third person already. This is great. So take a deep breath. Everybody with me. Deep breath in. Let it out. I'm serious. If you're not breathing, I'm going to smack you through the screen. Deep breath in. Let it out. This is helping. I can feel it. Deep breath in. Let it out. And we're just going to keep doing this till someone passes out. So go ahead and just hit the hand when you see someone pass out, and I'll stop breathing. One more deep breath in. Okay, wasting time now. Feels good, though. Feels good to breathe, doesn't it? Air is the breath of life. Get it in you. So today, I would like to have just a short discussion around where disease comes from. Now that's a really good question, and there's a simple answer, and then there's a much more profound answer that I'd just like to touch on without taking too much time. But what my father always told me, and through all of my research with amazing naturopathic principles and doctors and looking to the past, I've come to the conclusion for myself that there's really a few factors when it comes to physical disease. Number one of those is the body can be poisoned. Our body's a system of tubes. Everything in the body is tubular. Every cell of the body is like a little tube that lets things in and lets things out. We have thousands of miles of tubes that are our circulatory system. Even the bones are a lattice structure of tubes. Every cell is a tube. Your skin is tubes. It's cytophylactic, which means it lets things out and it lets things in. We sweat out waste, and our body actually absorbs things that we put onto the skin, which is why I have a motto that says, if you can't eat it, don't put it on your skin. And, a lot of people don't believe that, but you look at these days, you can put a patch on your arm that releases nicotine. So if you're trying to quit smoke, you can go to a doctor, put on a little sticker, and it releases nicotine into your skin. It's not like it has little needles and injector devices. It's actually just releasing it through the skin because it's cytophylactic. So what I'm saying is your body is a system of tubes. Everything is tubular, and these tubes are actually intelligent. They hold information, and every single cell is a microcosm of the macrocosm. And what do I mean by that? As above, so below. Every system that I have as a human being, my cell has. That means that my little cell in a microscope has a circulatory system, it has a lymphatic system, it has a nervous system, it has all these different systems just like my body has. Different ways of moving like muscle and all these things. Maybe there's not bones in there, all right? Maybe got me on the bone one. But all the other systems, it has. So what I'm getting at here is disease is caused on a molecular scale and within our whole being from being poisoned. So if you take a poison in the form of artificial sweeteners, which are found to be poisons, preservatives, all artificial colors, all these different things that exist in our environment. We go outside and there's tons of cars driving by, there's carbon monoxide, there's all these other things in the air, who knows what's in the air. And so you're constantly breathing a little bit of toxins. And there are metabolic poisons that are being developed all of the time in the form of acids. So even when I eat food and I drink water, I get out in the sun, I have this natural thing called ATP going on for the production of energy. There's a level of waste, a level of acid that needs to be cleared out of the tubes. So poisoning without the detoxification of those poisons inside of my cells eventually would lead to chronic conditions. First, it would be an acute condition. I might have little symptoms, and it would start to develop over time and time to a chronic condition, and then potentially degenerative. And if you look at principles of healing, no matter where you're at, when you start to heal, you'll work your way backwards. And a lot of times you'll re-experience some of those symptoms in the process. A lot of people actually start to get healthy, they do a fast, they do things, and symptoms will come up of things that they experienced in the past. Like, oh, Tyler, I used to get these massive migraines. It was 2 years ago, but why is this coming up again? Well, maybe you suppressed it with adrenaline, having to go to work. Maybe you suppressed it with pharmaceutical drugs. Maybe you suppressed it with natural drugs. Who knows? So I hope this is making sense. Poisoning is one way to cause dis-ease within the system. And it can be an exterior poison or an interior poison. Number two, in my opinion, is nutritional deficiency. And what does that mean? Well, if I'm not giving my body what it requires for metabolism and for all the pieces it needs and all the antioxidants it may need for all the free radicals in the environment and all this stuff, it's very, very complicated. But essentially, nature is simple so that we don't have to be complicated. Everything is in the fresh fruits and vegetables and everything all around us. Mother Nature has a solution for everything, always has and always will. Mother Nature is very intelligent, and I could get into that more. Look at the problem of radioactivity and oh my gosh, it's going to kill us all and all these things. And hey, Mother Nature develops a bacteria that eats radioactive waste, turns it into an organic compound in less than a week. And you could actually put it into massive levels. Fukushima, for example, they could go fill that thing with enzymes, and within a week it would eat it all and turn it into an organic compound, and it'd be done. But there's too much fear, there's too much politics, there's too much, who knows, maybe someone not willing to actually do it. But if you look into the research of what I'm talking about, you'll find out it's the truth. So plastic, for example, massive, oh my gosh, we got all this plastic everywhere and it's going to last forever and be here forever and we're all going to be drowning in plastic. Yes, we are, and it sucks. And I recommend using glass, But there's certain fungus now that Mother Nature is developing that will break down plastic into an organic compound in a matter of weeks. And there's people actually taking massive, massive islands of plastic, burying it, putting on this fungus, and it eats it up, turns it into fresh, beautiful soil, and then you can grow food with it. Shocking. There's other scientists in Japan that are taking plastic, putting it in a machine, turning it back into oil, and then you can put it in your car or turn it into fuel. Tyler, you're so off track here. Okay. Anyways, the point I'm getting at is disease comes from poisoning of the system, or it comes from blockage. So blockage creates poison as well. So there's a block in the system, there's a poison in the system, or there's a nutritional deficiency that's happening and your body's not getting what it needs. So a lot of times the poison or even the blockage leads to the body not being able to uptake the nutrition. And the last webinar that I did, I talked about specifically, I'm going to pull this up here real quick just so you guys can have a look at it once again. Turn that off. I talked specifically about the cycles that our bodies go through. And I'm just going to hit this one here. The body's natural cycles that it goes through, that if we honor detoxification in the morning every single day and don't eat food, we just allow the body to continue to detox, that's the removal of the poisons that I'm talking about. That's the removal of the waste products that I'm talking about, so that we're not blocking the body's ability to absorb. Then the appropriation stage, you follow that. Then you follow the assimilation stage. Then your body is optimally assimilating the nutrition that we need. And what this might be is actually doing a colon cleanse, because our small intestine has many villi and lacteals and other sorts of things that their job through some 20 to 25 feet of tubing is to suck up and receive nutrition. So a lot of times people need a lot of fiber or a colon cleanse to clean the plaque off of all of those villi so that they can perform their job properly. And when I talk about juice fasting potentially later, this is why someone would do a colon cleanse before a juice fast, because a juice fast is a massive, massive hit of nutrients that you can never get in any other way. I don't care who says their vitamin supplement is 10,000 truckfuls of vegetables. BS. I'm sorry, I'm calling bullshit. And I'm sorry for that, Mia, but you tell your mommy, hey, Tyler's trying to help people here, okay? So, don't be popping the pills because it's stabilized. It's probably genetically modified when it's grown. And yes, there's a few companies that are good that I agree with. But the reality is, the truth is, we need to get back to the farm. We need to get back to the soil. We need to get back to eating whole foods, unblocking the digestive system, and receiving nutrition the way it was meant to be through seeing a food, which activates certain processes, smelling the food, which activates processes of salivation. Who in here wants salivation? Raise your hand. Thank you very much. Yes, salivation is a fantastic thing. Then you put that food in your mouth, and there's a level of nutritional breakdown and connection and joy and orgasms going on in your brain. If you're following this process, especially because you're starving by the time you get to eat. And it's an amazing experience that starts to nurture you in such a fantastic way. Now, if you weren't here on this webinar last time, I just wanted to pull up my website here and show you guys. Let me just share my screen so you guys can see it. So this is my website, tylertolman.com. Yay! Look at me. And if you scroll down, there's recent articles, and I've got this article right here called Intermittent Fasting, How to Lose Fat, because scientifically proven you'll be burning a lot of fat. You augment your muscles when you do intermittent fasting and to feel fantastic. So I believe this is really the optimal way of living. And this is based on some really ancient cultures that did amazing things, some of them being the Egyptians, some being the Essenes. And I'd highly recommend reading a book called The Essene Gospel of Peace. Okay, so now let me get back to what I was talking about. And I hope you guys could see that. Let me just pop over here and see. Just say yes, maybe, if you could see it. And let's see. Can you guys still hear me? Just checking in with you guys. I'm just going to put the hands down. Can you all hear me okay and see my screen? Just raise your hand. Cool. Okay. On a roll here. And now the thing is, with this recording, obviously the recording, because I'm doing it, will be much clearer. So if there's things that I'm saying that you're not catching, or if the audio's cutting out, I apologize. But the recording will be much more clear. You can come back if there was something you missed and definitely listen to that. So we're talking about where disease comes from. So disease comes from poisons, internally or externally, or environmental factors, things that you're putting into your body on a daily basis. We talked about last time, health is about habits. If you have healthy habits on a daily basis, you are getting healthier and healthier and healthier, and you can feel it. I feel it. Honest to God, I feel that I am healthier than I've ever been in my life because I'm just now really discovering some of these really profound principles, and some of the things not even just discovering, but actually experiencing. For the first time in my life, I'm actually living it. And that is profound because there's gnosis, knowledge, there's praxis, practical application, and then there's intellicus, becoming it. So where does disease come from? Poisons and blockages. What do we want to do? Eliminate any form of potentially poisoning ourselves. It's that simple. We want to eat fresh, preferably organic, whole foods, fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains. Find somebody like Chef Cynthia if you don't want to be a chef, and she'll show you how to mix that stuff together in the most fantastic food on the planet. In fact, she's out cooking for me right now. She came to the United States with us. She's out making an amazing dinner. Super stoked for that. So eliminate everything toxic and then make sure that you're getting what you need nutritionally. Now, what I'd like to say here is what you need nutritionally is far less than what you actually think. It's actually a very small amount of food that's needed, that's actually needed on a daily basis. And if you have a clean digestive system, you got a clean colon, the tubes are functioning the way that they should, a very small amount of good, healthy, fresh fruits, vegetables, some nuts, some seeds, some tubers, some maca or some potato or some, ginger, any kind of root, anything that grows on a tree. I have given you every herb-bearing seed, which is upon the face of the earth, and every fruit and every tree to be your meat. So, one of the most ancient books that we have says that meat is herbs, fresh fruits, and vegetables. So I don't know how we ever misconstrued that into being a dead animal, but I'm not going to talk about that. So we have poisons, we have blockages, we have nutritional deficiencies, and then there's actual structural damage. People who've been in a car accident, people who've been stabbed or shot or had surgery and had organs removed or different things, then those things can cause some issues as well. But the body's capacity to evolve and work is phenomenal. People drink liters of Coke every day, eat Big Macs every day, don't exercise, don't get in the sun, don't do anything that I'm talking about for 20 or 30 years, and they become massive, and they still are operating like, they still got energy and they're still kicking along and doing their thing. Passion is a big factor in health. And some people are passionate, but they don't do any of that other stuff. And so they live a long life doing that other stuff, but their quality of their life could be so much better. Okay, so where am I going with this? So these are the basic principles behind disease, and I really think that it's simple to nurture ourselves. I've taken people out on a deserted island and even in the city and fasted them for 40 days and 40 nights on water. Fact. And some of these people had energy the whole time and were more healthy and lost weight and felt fantastic at the end. Some people didn't. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Some people looked like they were gonna die. Okay, but they all recovered. And now, if you look at these people that did that in their lives and what they're doing, absolutely transformational, amazing things that took place. So what I'm getting at is if somebody can go 40 days just drinking water and be healthier than they've ever been, this means there is actually a lot less nutrition required than what you think. And your body has a lot of stores of essential amino acids, a lot of stores of fat, which is energy, which creates ketones, which is good for your brain, which is good for your body, and all this other stuff. So it doesn't take a lot. It actually takes a very little. And the lifestyle that I've been moving towards is one of eating one meal a day. I'm just going to mention that. And the amount of food you can eat when you're only having one meal is calorically half or 1/3 of what I always ate my entire life. And I have more energy, I have more clarity, I'm stronger, okay? And I look and feel younger than I have in the last 10 years doing this process. And yes, every once in a while I have a bender in Vegas. Disclaimer. Okay, so now we've talked about the physical principles of disease. What we haven't talked about is the energetic perspective, the emotional perspective. And I don't want to spend a lot of time here, and it's not something I've been raised to even look at. The way I've been raised, it's physical, it's this, you do that, it equals this. And on some level, I believe that because of the way that my father approaches it, because of the way I've approached it from a physical level, I believe when you do the fasting, when you do the proper lifestyle, you're not allowing yourself to suppress all of the emotion and the trauma that some of you have experienced throughout your lives, and you allow yourself to bring that to the surface and to clear it. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because there's a lot of people like Louise Hay and other proponents that are sharing that disease is very emotionally based. A perfect example. I had a man with a brain tumor that came to my program, a very large brain tumor, and he's very young. And we were taking him through the fasting, and we did this breathwork experience. And he came out of the breathwork experience and he said, I know why I have the brain tumor now, and I never knew before. And it's because I hate my father. Because I hate my father and I resent my father, and everything I do in my life is to try to not be like him, it's caused this brain tumor. And I know it because I've seen it. And there's things that we can do on an energetic level that is not taught in our society these days. And the programs that I run, yes, it's all about all these amazing principles from a very scientific, a very physical level of removing blockages, of cleansing poisons, of maximizing nutrition, okay, and even fixing the structure, because the human frame is a big part of this as well. And having certain people that specialize in correcting the human frame over this period of time as well is profound, because then the nervous system can travel and do what it's supposed to do. Everything's in alignment. All the tubes can function optimally. But what I'm getting at is that a lot of times there are very emotional or very traumatic experiences that I believe are directly related to disease. And I believe that if you go and work on those things energetically and emotionally, I don't care what kind of work it is, there's certain things that I have found in my life that I know in my heart of hearts are the most profound tools to clear people of their emotional baggage. And I promise you, there's people on this call that are like, oh, what are you talking about? I don't have any emotional baggage and I'm sick. And you're the people that I'm talking about that are saying that in your heads that actually have the deepest, darkest emotional stuff going on. And, I've spent years learning these techniques of going in and helping people just by asking questions. And look, I'm not selling anything here. Like, you couldn't even pay me to do it. I don't do that. It's not something I do as an offering. It's something that I love when people have issues in these ways to help them to clear that kind of stuff. And there's all different modalities from around the world. The shamans of Central America and the Amazon would have people drink ayahuasca and go into like a freaking spirit world or whatever it is experience. And people have healed themselves of cancer and all kinds. And there's documentaries out there that'll blow your mind with what people go through. There's things like Vipassana meditation retreats where I have a friend, Mark Darwin, that had a big brain tumor as well. And, he did a fast and everything, what my dad told him, and he went and did a Vipassana and just bang, totally ridded himself of a big brain tumor. So all I'm getting at is there's many modalities in many ways. And I believe that when we want to look at health, when we want to be healthy, we want to eliminate disease, we have to look at it from a holistic perspective. And what I mean by that as well is like, you could be like, oh, I'm going to be vegan. I'm just going to eat fresh fruits and vegetables. Tyler's absolutely right. And then you run around, you point your finger at everybody. You should be vegan. You're killing animals. You're a freaking asshole. Yada, 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 yada. And it's like, wait a second. You're missing the point. The point is compassion, right? And I have nothing against vegans and nothing for them. Everything for them, and maybe everything against them, because everything I say is true and false at the same time. I promote a vegan lifestyle. I promote a whole foods plant-based lifestyle. And even myself, I don't live up to that 100% all the time. And I'm still working. I have compassion for myself. I have compassion for other people. I try to be nice and gentle. Whew, where's this guy going with all this? Anyway, I hope you understand what I'm saying. It also comes down to taking a deep breath, being able to relax, being able to de-stress, loving other people, having compassion for other people, seeing that what we're experiencing in our lives in every moment, I believe, is a reflection of what's going on within us internally. And I know this is a big conversation to have, but I'm having it. I'm here, I'm talking about it. And I just want to say that when we can start to see what's happening in our lives, and instead of reacting to it and getting upset and getting frustrated and going into either depression or anxiety, when we can just see it and take a deep breath and ask the question, how is this benefiting me? How could I truly change this, instead of just reacting to it? Then I also think this practice of being present and being able to breathe through every situation is just as important to our own health. And it's a every minute practice. Seriously. And the pendulum will swing because it's the law and its principles of the universe that exist. As above, so below, the law of polarities, the law of the pendulum going back and forth. You're going to have a really good time and you're going to have a really shit time. You're going to experience high health and energy, and you're going to experience the other way. And as we evolve along this path and start to see it for what it is, we can start to polarize ourselves on the positive end of the pole and not allow the pendulum to take us to the other side. And this is true mastery. And this is what masters and mystics and whatever you want to call them for thousands of years were talking about. And I do believe that all of this, the principle of vibration, for example, you are vibrating on a level of joy and vitality, also based on what you're putting into your body. And, if you get in a fight with your partner, or if you're upset, you're angry, you're depressed, look at the types of foods you want to eat. You want to eat ice cream. You want to eat hot dogs, or, whatever it is for you that's that one low vibrational thing that you go and have, whatever it is to satiate your addiction or suppress your emotions. These are the types of things we need to identify. So when we start to emote with one another on a higher level, we take a deep breath, we de-stress, we will actually be more attracted to eating an apple. We'll be more attracted to having a salad. We'll be more attracted to having mangoes and papayas and concoctions that are very high vibrational. And these high vibrational foods and high vibrational ways of communicating with each other will just continue to raise us up. So, the last thing I just want to say is if you're ever one of those people that gets diagnosed, that word diagnosis, the word dia comes from an ancient Latin, which means split or dual. And the word gnosis means knowledge, simply. So if you ever go to a hospital or anywhere else and somebody diagnoses you with a dis-ease, they are, if they're giving you a diagnosis, by definition, saying, I'm not sure what you have, but based on the symptoms you're telling me now, I'm going to give you a label. And then that label is going to stick with you. And I'm going to give you a pharmaceutical drug or a nutraceutical supplement or some type of prescription of herbs and other things to try to combat these symptoms, none of which I agree with or disagree with. All I'm saying is, I believe if you've been diagnosed with a disease or you're experiencing these symptoms, it's because you are out of balance with the very basics. And yes, you can go to pharmaceutical drugs and feel happy, or you can go to nutraceutical and, supplements and things, and it may work for a while and have a great placebo effect and some nutritional qualities, no doubt. But if you're not changing the foundation of the truth of why you've come there in the first place, which is suppression, which is low vibration, which is bringing in stuff that's creating more poison, more blockages, and nutritional deficiencies and plaques and parasites and all these things, then you're not really getting the point. So I just wanted to mention that diagnosis is something that you're being told and they don't actually really know. And the nice thing about pharmaceutical drugs and the things that exist today is they do work. They do. They've designed chemicals and done things in a way that if you have a symptom, it'll stop it. But do you want to stop it? That's the question. Because if there's a sign and a signal, imagine it was like divine cosmos or consciousness or God or whatever you want to call it coming in and trying to give you a slap on the face and saying, hey, something's not right. Maybe you need to change. And you just slap the cosmos back and say, you know what, stuff you, I'm just going to take a pharmaceutical drug. You can do that. And if you have to do that, great. It's great to have it. When it comes down to trauma, I'm riding a downhill mountain bike and dislocate my shoulder. Thank God for pharmaceutical drugs. But I'm only going to take it once or twice just to get over the excruciating pain, and then I'm going to allow my body to go through the other pain, and I'm going to fast and do what every other mammal on the planet does to heal myself, because I know the principles of nature and how our bodies heal. So I hope a lot of that makes sense. I did have a few little slides I wanted to show, but I get off track a little bit. It always comes back to the basics: breathing good clean air and breathing deeply and doing it all day. But sometimes it takes just doing it, scheduled. 7 rounds of 7 is an audio download you can get for free on my online juice fast. One of the most profound things people tell me all the time, Tyler, that one thing I took, as your 7 rounds of seven, I listen to it after I eat a meal and I feel amazing. So download it, check it out, put some plants in your house, water, drink it. We are water. We are the creation of water so that it could get up and walk around. It's conscious. It's a funny one. Sunshine, get out in it. Exercise, move your body. However, even if it's just 30 to 45 minutes of walking, whole foods, eat them. You know what? And if they're conventional, you can't afford organic, get some apple cider vinegar and wash those things good. A spectral analysis my dad did with this guy, Dr. Paul Bragg, years and years and years ago, showed that it eliminated 100% of pesticides and herbicides. And whole foods have an amazing ability to keep them out, and they're on the surface. And I don't know if whatever. Relationships. Are you in a relationship or a relationship? And if you're in a relationship, that's also leading to toxicity and disease, especially if you feel the poison in your body when you're in a fight, when you upset at each other and all that stuff. I'm not saying you'll ever get to a place where you don't get a little upset or little things happening, but I believe generally raising our vibration all these other ways and becoming conscious of our relationships will get to a point of being able to communicate, having compassion for each other, truly finding unconditional love, and we'll be able to live a much happier, healthier life. Passion is another one, and I hope you're living it. So, what I want to do now, because these things go so quick, I always say, I'm going to do 20 minutes of just talking a little bit, and I always go a lot longer. And I hope you guys appreciate that. Yeah, so just, what if? I just want to say, what if when a person gets sick, it's not just sickness, there's something else going on. And if you will listen to your body and really be clear about taking maybe a more natural approach, I know that the very, very few times I have gotten sick, I can be honest, I felt so much stronger and clearer after being sick than ever. So maybe there's something to be learned. Maybe there's something to be gained through going through the sickness. And I'm talking about all of it, all of it. I'm talking about diabetes. I'm talking about heart disease, heart attacks. I'm talking about cancer. I'm talking about all these things. What if it's a message for us to really get us to look at our lives, really get us to look at our environments, really get us to look at what we're doing? And I can't help it. I've worked with hundreds, thousands of people with all of these diseases, and I've worked with them one-on-one as well. And I can say that whether the person took the conventional approach or took my approach or my father's approach or Gerson therapy approach or whatever they did, they transformed massively, and they became present, and they identified what actually mattered in their lives. And I saw some really beautiful, beautiful, beautiful things happen. And sometimes these people didn't make it. So, something to be conscious of. What if we could become more present, more conscious, and raise our vibrations without having to be diagnosed with cancer or heart disease or any of these other things? And if you have, what if it's just an opportunity to get you to do that? Because you really lost your passion in life. Your relationships were shit. Just be willing to admit it. Maybe you weren't eating the best foods. Maybe you weren't exercising, whatever it is. And I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying, let's really assess where we're at and change things regardless of where you're at, diagnosis or no. And there's so many video documentaries and doctors coming out now admitting that they were falsely diagnosing people with cancer. Hundreds and even thousands of patients from one doctor alone, fully exposed, sued, record searched, heart disease, heart surgeries. I've got videos that would blow your mind. And even if you have been diagnosed with cancer or fructose intolerance or whatever it is, it's just a name. It's not you. It's just a name. It doesn't mean anything other than become very present. Change what you're doing and find somebody that you resonate with and follow it to the T as much as you can if that's what you need. And if you don't feel like you need it that much, at least do a little bit. All right? Make sure you breathe in and breathe out. Let's take another deep breath. Let it out. See what that does for you. Take a deep breath. Let it out. I just want to say, before I get into some questions and answers, that we do have ways, if you want to really take it to the next level. I have a free online juice fast. You can get on this online juice fast and learn how to do an enema. Yeah, it sounds weird, but it's the most amazing thing you'll discover. Yes, you'll learn how to do breathing exercises. You'll learn how to stretch the body. You'll learn how to move it in certain ways. You'll learn how to open the endocrine system so that it's functioning correctly and feel amazing, and your body will be communicating. You'll be learning tons of stuff, and it's free, and it's a whole week. And if you don't even want to juice fast, so what? Add some juices into your life so that you're getting a massive level of nutrients, and at least go through the program and be inspired. There's over 5,000 people that have gone through it, an amazing community of people on there talking to each other. Whether you've done the juice fast or not, just get on there and start talking, and get to a point to where maybe you do a juice fast. And yes, I said do. Okay. So if you want to do a juice fast and you want to maximize it, I also have something called a colon cleanse. And I believe it's the most amazing, best way to remove plaque, remove parasites, and remove shit from your body. And it's a 4-day process. You can do it for 30 days if you want to do it gently. And yes, you're going to need to do it more than once. You'll probably need to do it 3 times before your clacka's clean and you actually experience bowel movements like I do, which means you eat a meal and you go poo. And your poos are freaking awesome and you love pooing and you don't mind talking about shit. All right? Clean your clacker. If you can't afford a colon cleanse, yes, it's $65 plus shipping. If you can't afford it, eat 10 apples a day for 5 or 6 days, and it will essentially do the same thing. Go buy some psyllium, pour some water in a bowl. The way I put it together is the way they did it for thousands of years back in ancient Egypt, and other people use these types of formulas of clays that extracted pesticides, herbicides, heavy metals, other toxins, and very specific fibers that would bind and collect plaque within your digestive system and pull it out. And you'll hear all kinds of scientists and doctors say, oh, there's no such thing as plaque in your colon. There's no such thing as detox. This is all bullshit. Yeah, right. Well, okay, I'll put you on this colon cleanse, and when you have black rods of crap coming out your ass, you might change your opinion. Ah, man. People and their opinions with no experience. That is the definition of ignorance. If you have a strong opinion about something negatively and you don't actually know anything about it, that is ignorance. And yes, I'm ignorant sometimes too. We're all human. If you want to take it to the next level, I have a 7, 14, or 30-day program based on this stuff called Pulse. And it's an ancient raw food that was talked about in the Bible, Daniel 1:12. Anyways, I don't want to go into it too much. Pythagoras talked about it. It was eaten in Egypt. I got all kinds of information. Maybe I'll do a webinar just about Pulse someday. But it's basically a complete whole food full of nutrients, everything your body could ever possibly want or need in a very tight, compact little bag. One little ball of this stuff will rock your freaking world. Most people eat massive amounts of food and get hardly any nutrition. With this, you could eat a tiny amount of food and be getting a massive amount of nutrition. So when you switch like that, when all of a sudden you go from eating tons of stuff and only getting a little bit of nutrition and blocking yourself to eating a very small amount of stuff and getting a lot of nutrition and all the fibers you need that pushes everything out, what happens? You have 10 times more energy. You have a cloud lift off of your head. Your relationships improve. Your money improves. Everything improves with your health. Everything. If you feel amazing and fantastic, guess what? Everything changes. If you have so much energy, all you want to do is dance. Everything changes. And I honestly believe that it's sad that people don't have this experience. It is the basic level of health. Our basic default setting of life is vitality and joy and love and just wanting to dance, period, or run or jump or do whatever. Look at kids, look at children. They just want to run around. They just want to explore. They just want to enjoy. They just want to jump. They just want to tumble. They just want to dance. That's all my little girl wants to do is run around, dance, have fun, jump for joy, and throw a fit every once in a while when she doesn't get her way, right? And that's life. But when does that stop? When does it become all of a sudden that we need coffee or need a stimulant and need that just to get out of bed? That's not right. There's something wrong. So, anyways, back to it. Like I said, if you got heaps of money and you want to spend some, jump on a program, heal your life. If you only have a little bit of money, you know what? You're spending it on everything else. It doesn't matter. Spend it on this and actually heal your life. And if you have no money whatsoever, I still have loads of information for free that you can change and heal your life, whether it's on a juice fast or even a freaking water fast, and you will save money. Literally, I can teach you ways of saving more money than you've ever saved in your life. The amount of food I eat right now is 1/3 what I've ever eaten in my entire life. 1/3. What does that do to your food bill? Well, slashes it down 1/3. Makes it very easy, right? And I love it. And it defines for me what I actually want. It defines for me what my body is actually craving. And no longer am I going to eat the crap that's just around because I'm just, there's something to do and I'm bored. Anyway, I got a program called Heal Thyself at Home. It's 13 weeks. If you truly need to heal, I highly recommend it. That's all I'm going to say. TylerTolman.com. Thank you very much. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so now what I want to do is go to some of your guys' questions and see what you're asking and do my best to answer some stuff for you. Oh, man. Okay, good day, Tyler. Osteopenia caused from breastfeeding. How can one increase bone density to prevent osteoporosis? Does almond milk have higher calcium than other forms of milk? First of all, I'm going to say that if you soak almonds overnight and you mix it and you add in maybe even some sesame seeds and some sunflower seeds, you can soak those, but you don't have to, and you make a mixture of nut and seed milk, yes, it will be the most profound, assimilable hit of calcium that you can possibly get. So you just take a handful of almonds, put it in a cup, add water, and you let it sit overnight, and that's it. And then you rinse it out, and then you put more water, and you rinse it a few times. You put that into a really good blender, add some sesame seeds, add some sunflower seeds. Then you put 4 parts water to 1 part nuts and seeds. So it's 4 times the amount of water, wherever it's at. You blend that really, really fast. You can add a little bit of honey. You could add a little bit of maple syrup if you don't like eating honey. You could add a little bit of vanilla, and you have the most profound almond nut seed milk on the planet. Okay? Fantastic for breastfeeding, fantastic for bone density. Okay? The 2 other things that you can do for bone density, and I'm just going to turn on my camera so you can look at my mug again. And I just lost my little question thing. So, the 2 other things that you can do for bone density, number 1 is get out in the sun. Because the sun actually causes for the process of calcium to be absorbed and prevents osteoporosis. It's one of the best things for your bones. Also, salt. So if you take a little bit of salt, put it in your water. I take 2 pinches of salt all the time, just put it in my water and drink it. Himalayan rock salt is what I use. I would use Celtic salt or sea salt, but mainly just use Himalayan. Okay? Now, if you look in the ocean, an ocean is a salty water environment, and the sunshine hits it, and what develops? Bones, called coral calcium. Coral calcium grows. So a saline water solution and sunshine actually builds the bones just as good as anything else. Pretty cool, huh? So drink your almond seed milk, put a little bit of salt in your water, make sure you're hydrated, get out in the sun the best you can. And even if it's winter time, go out every once in a while and just get it on your arms, get it on your hands. Okay, what else? Strength training. That's also, studies show that if you do some form of strength training, bone density is increased. So go out, take some weight, look up how to do a proper deadlift or a proper squat and do squats or deadlifts. You don't have to max yourself out. You don't got to kill yourself. Just pick something up. It's the most natural form of movement. Just do it correctly and pick up some weight and do that maybe 8 times up and down. Do it correctly and do that 3 different times and do that every 2 to 3, 4 days. And that will start to increase bone density because you're strength training. You could also do high intensity training. If you're into that and you're already, you can at least walk and run, you could do high intensity sprints, runs, or you could do swims in a pool. All that type of stuff is fantastic for boosting what's called human growth hormone. And in fact, when you do high intensity training, like 20 to 30-second bursts of as fast as you can and then stop, you do that 8 times, which by the way is only 4 minutes of physical activity. You do it every other day. Studies have proven, I can find this, that the amount of human growth hormone goes up 2,000% by doing intermittent fasting and high intensity training. Human growth hormone makes you feel really good. It creates growth within the muscular body. It does all kinds of beautiful things within the body. Okay, nut milk, salt in your water. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Tyler, about intermittent fasting. I can have amazing workouts early with no food, but what about recovery shake after the morning workout, recovery from to repair and build muscle? Stace, you have all the essential amino acids, all the proteins you could ever possibly need by not having that shake after. I know exactly how you feel because I do massive training, sometimes 2 hours, sometimes up to 4 hours in the morning, and then I don't eat for another 8 hours or more. And what will happen is if your body actually gets into a point of needing excess protein, it will break down superfluous tissue in your body, which is getting rid of potential tumors, cysts, polyps, moles, skin tags, all kinds of crap. When you go into those modes, your body goes into cleanup. So it's actually the best thing you could do. I know you feel like crap. I know you hit a wall. But that hitting that wall is the recognition of 2 things. One, that your liver is running out of glucose, which puts you into ketosis. Now you're burning fat. Yay! And you're also burning excess proteins, getting rid of all this other crap. You're allowing the body to clean up. And yeah, sometimes it doesn't feel good, but you'll get used to it. And in fact, you'll learn to love it. But if you can't handle it, by all means, go at least an hour after the workout and then have a smoothie. Great, depends on your level of willpower and your level of, wanting to take this easy. It doesn't have to be super stressful. You can take it a day at a time. I was doing intermittent fasting for years before I stepped it up to the level of what I'm attempting now. And I'm not going to say I'm doing it 100%, but it's even the little bit that I'm doing is fantastic. And the research I'm finding every day is phenomenal. Thank you. Crisps are my problem. You said it. All right. How do you help young children to heal from disease? Thanks, Haley and Sydney. You help young children by loving them, by feeding them the types of foods that can extract toxicity, like apples. Cut apples up really thin and put lemon on them, and you'll give them the best fantastic food they could ever have because it pulls metals, it pulls excess mercury and aluminum from vaccinations and from other environmental pollutions and things. Apples are nature's healers. There's an apple cure that's amazing. And what I would say is stop forcing your kids to eat. Let them tell you when they're hungry. Let them come to you and beg for food. And then when they do and they're actually hungry, they'll eat the apple. Cut it up. And it might take some time. You might need to come to a tropical island with me and do a juice fast and eat some fresh fruits to get them off all the Tim Tams and all the crap they've been fed for a long time. I'm not saying that's the case here. Give them love, give them fresh foods, get them out in the sun, and remove the blockage. They're probably backed up. And they might need to have enemas. They might need to have colonics, depending on the age. Okay? So there's a lot of things that can be done energetically and psychologically as well. A lot of kids come in with trauma from birth, with trauma from hospitals. Imagine it. You're born into a freaking hospital and you get jabbed with all kinds of crap. You're put under these lights. You're taken away from your parents. You're pulled out with forceps. You know, shocking. Shoving tubes down your throat and you can't breathe and shit's coming out. Like, that's traumatic. Trauma causes disease. Depending on how the individual relates to that trauma and what kind of triggers come up in the future, it can actually cause disease. And look, that's a big conversation to have that I'm not going to get into now. But those are the basic things that I'd be looking into. Oh, we have a family member who wants us to get a vaccination for whooping cough before seeing her baby. What is a natural method? Look, that's a tough one. It's like it's a big conversation to have. And the reality is, like, if you don't want to have a vaccination and your friend's not going to let you see their baby, then maybe you don't see their baby. Wait, okay, I'll see your baby in a year from now. Have a nice life, you know, whatever. Or go get one, go see the baby. And the thing is, like, it's a lot of research on just getting them. There's a potential that you could actually cause it from that. And, do the research on the babies that are getting whooping cough. Most of them have been vaccinated. Just saying. I'm just listing facts. Not saying I'm against or for vaccines. I have been getting a lot of pain above my spleen, liver area. Those are both two majorly different areas, particularly when I press down in that area. What causes this and what should be done? Okay, the spleen is on the left, just underneath the rib cage at the bottom, and the liver is on the right, just underneath the rib cage and partially protected by it. So it would depend on where you're having the pain. Cause me constipated and putting pressure on these organs. It's most likely something being consumed, I would say, that's affecting the liver. Sometimes these types of things can come up. And look, I don't mean to get freaky on you, but sometimes it's a sign of whatever you're doing in that moment. I believe that the body talks to us, especially when we're really clean, especially when we're, really in tune with our bodies. I might eat something right away and my freaking liver is like, eh, and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't eat that. Seriously. I know a lot of people are so rational, like, oh, well, that couldn't have happened that quick. Could it? Just saying. And all of you that have done the cleansing, that have done the fasting, who are in tune with your bodies, know exactly what I'm talking about. It's only the people that haven't done that are like so disconnected, they're like, you're crazy. Good morning from Australia. Love your webinars. Thanks heaps. Any suggestions for someone to gain weight? I'm underweight and need to put on 5 kgs. I eat really well, organic foods, and walk daily. I juice daily and drink lots of water and drink bone broth. Okay, we'll stop drinking bone broth. Okay, leave that stuff alone. If you want to have vegetable broth, that's great. You can just cook a lot of vegetables. You can actually eat them. I would say intermittent fasting and high intensity training is going to produce human growth hormone by 2000%. That will cause your body to grow. That'll cause your muscles to grow. That'll cause you to put on weight. In ancient Egypt, they ate cucumbers and dates together. And I know it sounds crazy to gain weight eating cucumbers. Are you serious? They believe that they had levels of steroids on a natural level that stimulated the body to maximize weight gain. So if you eat dates and cucumbers together and maybe even make smoothies or just sit down, I just sit down with them to eat dates and cucumber. I weigh probably 6 kilos more than I've ever weighed in my life. I've always hovered around 75 to 76 kilos. I now weigh about 82 kilos. 81, 82 is where I'm at. And I'm eating 1/3 of the calories. Go figure. but I'm actually wanting to put on weight. I'm doing strength training. I'm eating cucumbers and dates. I'm also eating other really good foods for your protein sources. I recommend peas and beans. I recommend tempeh, which is a fermented soy. You definitely need to buy it organic, but eat big salads with that tempeh in it. Cook it really well. Um, you know, do those types of things. Do the intermittent fasting. I always eat fruit first and then move into my other things, but I eat enough, at least in that one meal, or do the 2 meals a day and high intensity training. Okay, got it? Get it, got it, good. What do you think about detoxing and breastfeeding? Those are sensitive areas I don't really go into, and I'm of dual minds, but I would say that you can detox to a degree by eating really healthy, and that would be the best way to go. There's seals and bears and all kinds of mammals that have babies and don't eat at all. They actually fast, and all the fat that they put on through pregnancy melts and comes out in the form of breast milk. But I don't know if humans have that capability, and they're probably way too freaking stressed to do that. If you look at a bear, it's just laying there, scratching its butt. Excuse me. Sorry, guys, I can be a little crazy at times. You mentioned ketone energy. Can you chat about that a bit? Okay, well, the brain feeds amazingly on ketones, and the body works very efficiently in a ketogenic state. So I do believe in a ketogenic diet, but I believe the way it's meant to be done is through intermittent fasting. Dun da da da, ding 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 ding, and then you're supposed to eat plants. So if you fast 23 hours a day, or even 18 or 16, and you do intermittent fasting, you're mainly living on ketones, which feeds the brain. Studies proven that you become more intelligent when you do a fast. What's that documentary called with Michael Mosley? Eat Fast and Live Longer. Go look that up on YouTube, Eat Fast and Live Longer. Watch that 45-minute documentary by Michael Mosley, all the science behind it. You become more intelligent. That was just one thing they pointed out. You radically reduce IGF-1 in the liver, which is a main factor in cancer, and you do all kinds of other things when you simply do intermittent fasting. Now, he's talking about 5-2. There's many different ways to do intermittent fasting, but the most natural way is to do it on a daily basis because it's a lifestyle. And you will never, ever have to fast from food if you fast from food every day. But it still means you get to enjoy food every day. And yes, you may need to fast until you get there. Signatures. So, look, I have gone way over. I love you guys. I wish I could be here all night long, but I know my brother's probably shown up. I haven't seen him in 8 years. I'm going to go hang out with him. I'm going to go hang out with my family. I hope I've answered a lot of your questions for you. I did talk about the rosacea thing, and I said I would answer that at the beginning, so that's the last one I'm going to do. I would love to do your juice cleanse, but I get red lumps and acne like rosacea on my cheeks when I eat apples, pineapples, beetroot, etc. Okay, your cheeks represent your stomach. Your stomach has some major issues of potentially stored toxicities. I have no idea. Stuff going on dealing with your stomach. So when you're aggravating that stomach, it shows up right on your face. And those foods currently are aggravating your stomach in a way that it doesn't like. But it most likely is components of those foods that are causing for a detox to take place. But in saying that, what I would recommend is going on a melon fast, because with the doctrine of signatures, the melons represent the stomach. I'm talking about honeydew. I'm talking about rock melon, or we call them cantaloupes here in the US, cantaloupe, rock melon, watermelon. You do watermelons just by themselves for 21 days, I'll bet money that you won't have that anymore. And then when you go back to eating food, do the intermittent fasting, live that kind of lifestyle, mostly plant-based, okay? Mostly plant-based. If you want to do all plant-based, even better. And I don't think you'll ever have that problem again. 21 days, melons, do it. Heal your stomach, heal your life. And I can tell you that I've had quite a few people that have had that rosacea, alopecia type of stuff on the skin. The face is just a reflex organ, just like everything else. If you have a rash going on, it's most likely because your liver is overworked as well. There's too much toxicity on your liver. Why? Because your colon's backed up. When your colon backs up, it puts a lot of extra stress on the liver. When the liver's backed up, all of a sudden either you have nasal congestion or you have skin conditions. Your skin is your second liver. Some people say, third kidney. Um, but, whatever. Same thing. If your kidneys are having problems because you got excess protein, excess acidity in the blood, you just need to alkalize that, which watermelons would do anyway, extended fast. My dad did 90 days on watermelons only, and yes, he still ate it, but it was like, give me a break. How much fiber is that? Hardly any. And in 90 days, this guy's freaking arms were huge. His waist was tiny, had more energy than anyone I've ever seen. I got photos of him from, must have been 20 years ago. Yeah, 20 plus years ago. 90 days on watermelons, looked amazing, put on muscle. How does that happen? Well, even the seeds have protein. So you might want to find seeded watermelons as well. I love this because it feels like I'm having a conversation with you guys and I'm just kind of sitting here talking to a screen. It's quite hilarious. Look, I want to apologize to the rest of you. I still got a lot of questions. Somebody just asked one, frankincense and cancer. What do you think and why? I have PubMed studies, actual science, showing that there's a component within frankincense that actually attacks and kills cancer cells. Turmeric, same thing. You can find those. You can go to the American Institute of Cancer Research, and they have actual studies on turmeric for killing cancer cells. So I put a drop of frankincense oil into my water nearly every day. I haven't the last few, but nearly every day I do it. I burn it in my room to get rid of negative energies and just to lighten the space, and it helps you to relax at night. I take hot salt baths with essential oils. The stuff's fantastic. Anyways, I want you guys to come back, so I'm not going to take too much time. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for being on this, for supporting me, for supporting my father, for supporting yourself in the healthcare, self-care revolution. You guys are awesome. I hope to see you next week. Invite your friends if you want to, if you think there's something good here. And with that being said, mwah, peace out. Love you guys. This is Tyler Tolman, signing off.